Hi everyone, welcome to the Velero community meeting. Today is Tuesday the 10th of August and as usual let's kick things off with some status updates. So Dave, you're up first.
Yeah, so I actually got some time to code during our week last week and been chugging along. So I have the upload progress is all plumbed and it almost works, at least, very basically. So I was hoping to have a demo, but I finished the code about 2 minutes before the meeting started and it doesn't hook up yet. But I think by next week we'll have something to talk about. And I've got some stuff in discussion I want to discuss. So that's it for me.
Excellent, thanks Dave. Any comments or questions or anything for Dave before we move on? Okay, yeah, I'm next in the list. So just an update, we're still working towards getting a v1.6.3 release ready for release. So this is needed to provide compatibility with Kubernetes 1.22, which was released last week. We were hoping to get out in advance of that release, but we've discovered a few kind of last minute issues that we needed to fix. The first one of these was that we were still using the V1 Beta 1 API for the CRD readiness check. So that has been merged. And then the following one is to skip the API service restores for Kubernetes managed services. I've just realized as well, I'm not sharing my screen with the notes, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay. Let me just make it a little bit bigger as well. Great. Yeah, so this is the PR for skipping the API service restores. That is currently up for review. So once that's merged, once it's been reviewed and merged, of course, then I think that we'll be able to get that merged into the release 1.6.3 branch, and then we'll proceed with that release, and hopefully we'll get that out in the next couple of days. Okay.
Bridget, I have a comment regarding this. So can we write up an issue to make sure we can discover such issue in like end-to-end automation test? I don't quite understand this API.
Yeah.
Service.
So I I did open an issue for yeah. So I have some scripts and things locally that I've been using for testing this. So I will. Yeah, I'll write that up as well and kind of discuss the environment that I was using where I was able to replicate this, and also how I was able to trigger this behavior. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great idea. So I will do that. Okay. Is there any other questions or comments on that? Okay, let's move on. Wenkai, you're up next.
Yes, I'm still working on the regular end-to-end test on AWS, and found some new issues, and I'm trying to figure them out. Yeah.
Anything in particular? Anything you need help
on? I think I can take care them currently.
Okay. Reach out if you need anything.
Sure.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks. Are there any other questions or comments for Wenkai? Okay. Daniel, you're up next.
Yeah. The Velero debug PR is ready for review. Yeah. Please take a look and approve. There are some dependency on the crash D I mentioned in the description area of this PR, and I will follow up with crash D maintainers, have them fixed. If they cannot fix by the RC date of Velero, I will provide a workaround. But there is a bug in crash D. If you look at this number 210,
Mhm.
Yeah, the filter doesn't seem, there's a bug in the filter, the way they filter the resource when we collect, when we use crashd to collect the resource. If this can't be fixed on the crashd side, we need to ship this feature with this bug. The impact is that when we collect resources like backup resource location and stuff like that, the pod and the backup resource will also be collected. So I think that's acceptable, but ideally it should be fixed. That's the status for Velero debug. And I'm also starting to verify Velero on IPv6. Currently, I'm working with the test infra engineers in VMware to try to get IPv6 environment. If it can't be done, I'll try to verify it on kind. So within 1 or 2 weeks, I'll give you an update.
Awesome, thank you. Just a question for the debug and crashd. Do you have like any idea of their release process and like the overhead so if they do manage to get these fixes in, do you know if they're
I
like
will,
how
I will
quickly
also
they'll be able
think
to release?
with, I think the release is pretty lightweight, the process, but I will
cool.
sync with the maintainer to make sure we can consume this release.
Great, thank you. Any other comments or questions for Daniel? Okay, is there anything else? I can't see if there's anyone else on the call. Otherwise we can move on to discussion topics. Dave, do you want to chat about your topic?
Yeah, I was hoping Fong would be here, but I'll catch up with them on Slack. So just kind of a general thing to toss out there. We have a kind of an ongoing thing, excuse me, for 1.7 of adding timeouts to plugins, specifically the volume snapshotter plugin. So I guess the proposal also included backup item actions, didn't it?
Yeah, I think if I don't have the issue number to hand, but I think there was a discussion just to add a general timeout mechanism to all of the plugin APIs, because I think the approach that Fong was looking at using was just adding a context to the APIs. So
yeah,
rather than doing it selectively, just apply it to all of them.
I think that's still a good idea, though we may not, depending on where we wind up with versioning, we may not be able to do that. So what's happening right now is we have multiple types of plugins. I know that there's definitely a concern about the volume snapshots taking a long time, specifically the vSphere plugin. And so it's funny because the vSphere plugin is no longer a volume snapshotter. It actually became a backup item action and a restore item action because we needed to back up and restore at the PVC level. So I'm seeing that volume snapshotters and the backup item action, restore item action, delete item actions for things that are snapshots, these should both get merged into item snapshot. So anything that's anything that's snapshotting something, any of the existing volume snapshotters, either the backup item actions, which are, for example, like CSI and vSphere, or the volume snapshotters, these should become item snapshotter. And item snapshotter, we can put the timeout in from the beginning. And then as the plugins rev, they'll support the timeout anyway. So and we can still go ahead and add it to backup item action. I think that's less, for Fong's use case, I think that's less critical because he was really running into problems. Just the vSphere plugin just kind of goes off for a long time, if there's an issue with talking to VC or something.
Yep.
Any thoughts from anybody on this?
Yeah, so I think
I did
Sorry,
have
go ahead.
one question around the item snapshotter. Is that something new that is that a new action that I don't know about or plugin?
Yeah, it's part of the upload
Okay.
progress monitoring. So basically, we didn't have a good way to expose the progress, and because volume snapshot, so volume snapshotter is too limited. We could have extended volume snapshotter, except CSI and vSphere already moved to backup item action. And I looked at, yeah, it's in
Okay.
there.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll just go read the design doc. That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, and the
Thank you,
design
Richard.
doc needs to get updated. So as
Okay.
I actually implement it, there's of course issues, but we'll talk
Always.
about
Always. Yes.
as the code gets closer to actually working, then we'll come back and go through the high level of what happened. Anyway, so the new API. So the idea behind the API is that it handles all snapshotty type things. So we started abusing backup item action to make it run snapshots for CSI and vSphere, but that's not really what backup item action is meant to do, because it doesn't like collect everything together. Because there's like a backup item action, there's a restore item action, and a delete item action, all of which are separate. And we're going to add yet another one, which is going to like progress, but not every backup item action actually snapshots something. Most of them don't. Most of them modify a resource. Whereas volume snapshot is very clearly like, yeah, I'm taking a snapshot of some thing, specifically a volume, but conceivably we'll do other things in the future. And like we weren't doing a good job of listing out the vSphere snapshots. I think we did CSI, but it was like a hack. So, and like the cleanup was kind of hacky as well. So I want to get those all merged together. Hey, there's Fong.
Yeah, I'm just gonna mention that you
Yeah,
just joined the
sorry.
call.
I did join, yeah. I missed the whole conversation about the folding the snapshot, folding plugin timeout into the snapshot item.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, and I guess we still want to have it on backup item action, and so my thinking is that for volume snapshots, we're going to be moving all of the plugins to the item snapshotter plugin API, and we can put a timeout in that from the very beginning. And I don't think there's a good reason to put it into the old volume snapshotter APIs, because they don't, if we're moving them forward anyway, we don't really need that. And the backup item actions, there's two, the CSI plugin and the vSphere plugin are both backup item actions, but we'll move those to be item snapshotter plugins. So so all the volume snapshots will automatically move to the new API. And if we put the timeouts into the new API from the beginning, then we just get that as we move everything forward.
That's all logical to me. Yeah.
But then we probably still want to add it to like the other ones, the backup item actions, restore item actions, etc. So what do you think?
For the timeout, I think we can for the versioning, right? The versioning of the plugin, I think we should go ahead and add the versioning for the context to enable timeout anyway. Whether or not we're gonna do it for each plugin or not is up to us later. For Dell needs, right? Dell EMC, what we need is to have the timeout in the backup snapshotter. If that backup action item being folded into item snapshotter, then that's all we need. Right? From my point of view, I'm kind of a little bit selfish here. We only use the backup item to do snapshot, nothing else. So if you fold into that backup snapshotter, that's all I need. That's all I need. However, I don't know in the future we might do any additional things for the backup item or not. That is in the future. So I think if we have this item snapshotter ready, then we can just use that for our plugin. So far, we only use vSphere plugin, which you guys are going to throw into the item snapshotter, right?
Yes.
And in that case, then we are, by the time that we need, by the time that we have the plugin versioning pulled in, I think that should be ready for us. I'm okay with that.
Okay. So just as a tentative plan of record, we'll leave the existing volume snapshotter API. We'll just leave that alone because that's going to be deprecated and obsoleted. And we'll definitely have the timeouts in item snapshotter, and then we'll put them into the other backup item, restore item, delete actions item as, you know, either we'll get into 1.7 or we'll get it into 1.8.
Yeah, I need to read the item snapshotter a little bit more to make sure that it does take care of our need, but very likely it is, like you said, if it's work with vSphere plugin, then we would be able to do that.
Yeah, let's sync up. So I'll add the context into the item snapshotter APIs, and we'll try and figure. I need to figure out how to make all that stuff actually get through the gRPC, but we need to figure that out anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think if we can get that into the item snapshotter, because there was definitely concern that with the plugin versioning, and then the timeouts as well, that there was a concern that we wouldn't be able to get that in for 1.7. But if you think that we'll be able to get the item snapshotter in, which would give us the timeouts anyway, it would be great to solve that use case for this release.
Yeah. So if we can get the into the APIs at least, even if it doesn't work yet, it'll be there in the APIs.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Well, that's it for me.
Great. Is there anything else that anyone on the call wanted to discuss today?
Yeah. So now I'm back with the now I'm back after vacation, so I think I can continue into the coding for that. So right now, I think I chat with Bridget on Slack that I will continue adding code into my private branch until the feature brand is until Bridget creates the feature branch. At that point, let me know. I'm gonna start merging it into the feature branch. Okay.
Awesome, thanks, Fong. Yeah, no, I'm sorry I didn't get the branch created. Just been caught up trying to get some of the stuff done for the 1.6.3 release. But I can create the branch and we can get that set up tomorrow. I'll ping you on Slack. Okay. Anything else?
Good to me.
Awesome, thanks. Okay. So if that's it, I will stop my share, and I think that's everything for today. I think we can wrap up early. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you next week.
Okay. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Everyone.